Hey guys, how's it going? So we're out in the studio again today. I think this is the third video in a row from the space, but I'm hoping that with each video we post from in here that it starts looking more and more put together. We just recently got all of our grow lights, yesterday I think, got all of them in here, plugged in, kind of moved around, and that's kind of the whole point of the video today. I want to go through all of our light systems, kind of the pros and cons of each one, because I think each one serves its own purpose and its own kind of like space situation and that sort of thing. And most of these I have used for between 4 and 5 years, and I have them going year round. So I've put them through the paces. It's also pretty gross outside right now. It's foggy and cold and wet and just kind of dark. And I'm 8.5 months pregnant. So we'll probably be in the studio quite a bit for the next little while. And there's still a little bit of an echo, but we are working on it. So these are some of the sound panels kind of in their raw state. So they're just a wood frame with some insulation and some window screening, and I'm going to put some fabric over them, and then we're going to install them along the ceiling here between the windows. And I can tell though, like with each and everything we bring into this space, the echo is getting less and less. It's really nice. But I would like to get some color in here, and you know, eventually we'll get there. So I think we'll start with this system right over here, because you can tell, like I have 3 of them. Most of these light systems came from Gardener's Supply. In fact, they sent me out my first, this is a Sunlight 3-tier garden, I think they call it. And I liked it so much that I then purchased the next 2 because I really wanted a lot of my light systems to be cohesive in the way they looked, because I knew that they were going to be, I don't know, I wanted them to, they were going to be in my home. They were in one of our spare bedrooms for years. And I kind of wanted them to look nice. And that's one of the things I like about this system, is that it does look, even though it's metal and plastic, it looks good. You know, it doesn't look like it's a system that's been kind of cobbled together, which is what I've had in the past, which there's nothing wrong with that at all, but it's nice to have a unit that's built for this specific purpose. So this one came, actually all 3 of these came with fluorescent lights. And they have since been retrofitted with their LED lights, which are awesome because 1, they're cool. They're not hot like the fluorescents were. And their output is like, I think, twice the light output, and they last 5 times longer, plus they're cheaper to operate. They are more expensive to buy, but definitely worth the investment in the long run. I find with these LEDs, because they have a higher output of light, you don't have to worry about raising and lowering the light with your seedling growth as much as you do like with a regular fluorescent. But if you want to, and I still do when I get ready to do my seed starting, they've got this pole chain on the side. So if you want to lower, you just do one of these like that. You need to do it on both sides, obviously. But they're really easy to raise and lower. You do have to be careful though. Now I don't know if they have changed this since I got these 5 years ago, but see how this is attached right here? It's really easy for this ring to come off if you're doing things too quickly and you kind of like jar the thing around. And I've had the whole light system like fall off and hit my plants before. So you kind of want to do it ginger. And again, it might be different now. They've maybe improved that since I initially got these light systems. So they do have wheels as well. I think I've got them all. Do I have them locked? Do they lock? Can't remember. Doesn't look like these ones lock. But to have them on wheels has been really handy, because if you need to clean underneath or just move them out of the way, like we're not sure how we're going to exactly utilize this studio space. So having all 3 of these on wheels is nice, because like if we want to film something and I need this just to be out of the way, we can just wheel it off to the side and then wheel it back really easily. And then we can see maybe right here, you can see that each one of these trays, or levels rather, has a really thick plastic tray. So this actually lifts out, which is nice because 1, it catches all of the excess water, which when we're watering things, I'm not super careful when I water. So inevitably I end up with water pooling in the bottom, or I've given something a little bit too much water and it comes out the saucer or whatever. So I can take all of this stuff off every once in a while, take the tray out and go hose it down, clean it out. It's really nice to have the ability to do that while it still like keeps everything like the mess contained in the meantime. And then each one of these light fixtures holds 2 tubes, and I think these are 4 feet. I think the overall length is 51 or so inches. Maybe we can put the dimensions on the screen. I can't remember those details exactly, but each one of them has 2 lights, which is nice because the amount of light that the plants need in this amount of space, I feel like 2 covers it really nicely. And I usually have these systems running for between 14 and 16 hours per day. I have them plugged into a timer that then plugs into the wall, so they turn off and on when I want them to. And I find that that works the best. Like, you don't have to have them on that much, but I think that that makes for a better looking plant, better color on your plants, and just a better shape overall. So that's kind of what I set everything at. I don't really mess with that throughout the year, and I find that everything responds pretty well. And then you can see here, I'm prepped and ready to go for seed starting because we're having a baby here in just a couple of weeks. I wanted to make sure, I mean, they're pretty clean. I wanted to make sure that I was as prepped as possible so that I could bring the baby out here and Benjamin out here. They can play. In fact, I need to bring some of their toys out here. And then I can have a little seed starting station, and I have this all ready to go. Another reason I do like these grow light systems is that they do house one of my favorite seed trays perfectly. So it holds 5 of these. These are a Grow Ease seed starter. I think it's, I've got one here over here that's fresh that I've never set up before. Yeah. The reason I like these so much is that 1, they fit our systems really nicely, but 2, they have a self-watering feature. So the reservoir looks like this, and I know this is not the point of the video, but these have been a game changer for me. So they have a water reservoir here, and they have a little platform, and then they have a wicking mat that then goes down and touches the water, and the water comes up. It's a capillary mat and travels across the mat that way. And then you've got your actual seed starting tray right here that sits on top of the wet capillary mat so that water can soak up from underneath. And most plants, once they've been established and they've formed a little bit of a root system, they do better with underneath watering as opposed to overhead watering. I would say as a whole, most plants prefer that. I don't fill the reservoir though until I have the plants up a little bit. So I do overhead watering with most everything unless the seed packet indicates that it doesn't like overhead watering. I use a little pump sprayer. I get the seeds to germinate. I get them to grow a little bit to a point where I feel like the roots can actually reach down and utilize that water. But at that point when I can fill the reservoirs, it gets me by like 3 days maybe. It's not like a once and done thing. You do have to keep the reservoirs topped up, but it eliminates the amount of work hugely for me. So these systems here, each layer holds 5 trays, which, let me do the math. Did I bring a phone out here? I want to figure out how many seedlings that equals. So each one of these trays has 24 cells times 5 trays total on each shelf times 3 shelves equals 360 seedlings, which for me, based on what I grow and the quantity I grow, that's perfect. And I find that when I use trays that are this big instead of smaller cells, I don't have to transplant them as often for most varieties. I can just leave them in this one size until they're ready to go outside. So it kind of eliminates that one extra step. I do use some larger trays for some things, like snapdragons I grow a lot of. So I'll start them in a 72 count cell tray, and they don't really fit these trays like the main shelf very efficiently. So that maybe could be a con. Because they're longer and skinnier, 11 inches by 22, I have to put them horizontally, and then I've got a bunch of wasted space up here. So most of the time I find myself like putting them this way and they hang off the edges, which, I mean, it still works. They still get enough light. They still grow well. They just don't fit like these do quite as well. So the sunlight gardens, I think they come in lots of different configurations. Like you can get the 3-tier, but just skinnier. If you've got a smaller space, you can get a 2-tier system if you want, if you don't need 3 shelves. They're definitely not, they're not inexpensive, but I think that, like, this is my favorite light system. I think it's the most flexible and versatile for what I use it for, and I've been using them for so long and don't really have any complaints about them, that I think that they're a really good investment. Okay, so the next system are these right here, which I don't have any experience with yet, because they were brand new this year. This is an Oslo 4-tier grow light, and then the 2-tier right there. You can tell that this is a less expensive type of system. It's not as beefy. It's definitely slimmer, which is nice. I mean, you can get any of these, most of these gardens in slimmer sizes, but these just have a different look to them, and they've got a couple of extra features that make them really nice. So each one of these shelves, these are optional trays that you can, I think you have to buy these separately, that match, which I would definitely buy them, because then you don't have to saucer every single plant. But you've got shelves that you can fold up for taller plants. So the lights are held on by magnetic clips. So easy. I've never seen a light system with that. And maybe maybe I need to get more into the light system realm. I don't know, then maybe that's a thing, but it's so nice. So if you want to fold that shelf up, you take this light off, you can put it up here, and then the shelf folds right up. You can reposition the light really easily. And then it does come with a little jumper cable so that you can plug this one to this one so that this light you can utilize as well to shine more light down. But I am excited about this one because this is where I'm going to put all my 11 by 22 inch seed starting trays, because I think that's about the right size. I think they're going to fit perfectly. So anyway, this is just another option that I'll probably give you guys an update on later. Like the other ones in here, I've just used so much more. So like this one here, the bamboo LED grow light garden, definitely the best looking grow light I have ever seen. And that was the goal of this. I mean, it's bamboo, galvanized steel trays, so it has kind of this industrial modern vibe to it, but it looks like more of a piece of furniture that you can tuck into your, into more well-traveled areas of your home. The other ones, while they are nice systems, you know, they don't look warm and nice like these do right here. So there are different sizes of this one too. We got the low size, which the low just means the height here. There is a medium size, which is quite a bit, like you have quite a bit more space, and then there's a tall, and then there's a mini, which I have there. The low size, I wanted this specifically for seed starting. You can stack them. So these are actually separate units. There's 3 units right here stacked on top of each other. And then we went ahead and got there's a base right here on the bottom that has casters so that we can wheel this one around as well. And then each one of these trays holds 4 of the Grow Ease starter kits. The thing that is really nice about the system is that these are really high output LED lights. So I think even more than the LED tubes that I put in the sunlight garden. So you do not have to raise and lower these with your plant's growth, even your seedlings growth. And I was a little skeptical, I'm gonna be honest, because I'm so used to having to keep my light source, 4 inches away from the top of the leaf canopy of my seedlings and then raise it up as my seedlings grow. So I thought, we'll see. I'll try it out. But I grew tomatoes and peppers, eggplant, snapdragons, straw flowers, sweet peas. I started all of those seeds in this exact system right here, and they grew beautifully without ever having to touch the lights. And these don't even adjust. The lights are just like, they're up there and they don't move. So to have that ability, like not to have to think about it, like if I could get that kind of light in those, that would make these even like more awesome. The only thing with this one, I mean, it is the most expensive, I think, of all of these, but you are, getting more of a look instead of having it be more practical. It's more of a piece of furniture. I do wish it came in different colors though, because I do like a little bit darker wood colors as opposed to lighter colors. But overall, I think it's a really pretty light system, and it's really efficient. And I'm not sure if you can stain these. I'm sure you can, but it feels like there's some kind of a nice finish on it. So you might need to rough it up a little bit with sandpaper before you stain it. I probably never will, because I like it good enough just the way it looks. I'm not going to be too picky about it because we've got a whole mishmash of different styles in here, so it doesn't really matter. And then we've got the mini bamboo LED grow light garden. There are 2 here. I think they recommend only stacking 2 of these, but they come with a mounting kit, so you can actually mount it to your wall. So if you have no counter space at all and you think, oh, I just would really like to grow a few little herbs in my kitchen, or I'd love to have some succulents over the, wherever in my house, and I just don't have the right amount of light, you can put these on the wall, you can put them on a counter. So I think this is a really good solution for smaller spaces. I don't use any of these systems right here very often. However, I am going to be planting some herbs here pretty soon, and so I'll probably move these back into the kitchen, but I won't use these most likely for seed starting because they don't really hold my trays very well, just because they're built a lot smaller for a lot smaller scale areas. And then we've got a couple of other cheaper options here, but effective. Like this is a grow light, micro grow light garden. And I've used this in our kitchen quite a lot actually. So it comes with that same self-watering reservoir underneath here. I need to find my wicking mat. I took it out to clean it and I can't find it in the shuffle. It'll surface at some point. So you can fill this whole reservoir with water. It has the mat that goes down. It comes with these trays where you can, like I've grown all kinds of different microgreens and lettuces and things like that. And you can start herbs in these trays. They all sit on top of the mat and then they can drop water as they need it. Or you can use your own pots. Like you can pot some terracotta things and put them in there. I think I did that once and it looks a little bit nicer to have the terracotta there, but that's totally optional. And there's one fluorescent light tube in here and it's adjusted like this. Just little screws on the side where you can go down or up and then just tighten it as you need. I mean, it's plastic, a little more flimsy, but the price point is really nice. And if you just want to do a little bit of something in your kitchen or wherever, I think it's a fun option, and I've found that it works really well. A couple other things, the clamp lights, which I have a couple of. I have this one, and then I have one that's got silver on it, and they've got specific grow light bulbs in here. Rarely use these anymore, but I used to use these a lot more often. And you can clamp them to whatever and adjust it and point the light where you need. You can tell I don't use it very often, it's all dusty. So you can point it right at whatever you need it to be pointed at. So occasionally I'll bring one of these out if I need a little additional lighting somewhere, but I think that these are a good option if you just have like a couple plants that need some light. This is really inexpensive. I think probably the least expensive way to add some light. And then you can get individual grow lights like this. I actually have like 3 or 4 of these, different styles. I haven't brought them out here because I'm gonna probably give them to friends and family because I just don't find myself using these. I used to use these in those like baker racks, the silver shelving units, and then I would kind of retrofit them and make them into grow light stands, which is an awesome way to do it. And I did it for a lot of years, but I love having something that's set up specifically for the purpose of growing things because it just seems to be more efficient for the most part. But you can attach these to the underside of shelves and just plug them in, and then you've got yourself, your own kind of homemade light system. So the last type of light system I have tried, but I don't have anymore, is called the Stack and Grow system. And it was a heavy-duty plastic system. My mother-in-law now has it. And it worked okay. I felt like the lights were a little bit hard to adjust. It's kind of the same concept, if I remember right. It was kind of like a screw sort of situation. And then it seemed a little bit too flimsy, and I was probably using it improperly. I was putting things that were way too heavy on it. And so it would kind of do one of these things, but it did have anchors for the wall. So you could anchor it up to the wall. And now my mother-in-law is using it to start seedlings, which is I think how that one should be used most of all. Although you can get extenders for it and make it nice for tall plants if you want to, but keeping lightweight stuff on that one, I think, unless you're planning to attach it to the wall somewhere, is the way to go. But I did try that one for a full season at least.
Couple.
If not 2, yeah. And I got by with it pretty well. So in terms of price point, I would say that one, for what it gave, the size, was pretty good. But just I would be a little bit careful about the weight limit. Follow the guide. I wasn't following the guide. But I think the price point was pretty good. So anyway, that's pretty much it. That's an update on our light systems, kind of our setup, how we have it currently. And I did all of our flowers for the cut flower garden, the ones that needed to be started inside, were started on the bamboo LED grow light garden and these 3 right here. So I only used the 4 kind of full-size grow light systems. I was able to churn out a ton of seedlings, and we're gonna get started here. I mean, I planted Lisianthus last January. It's like the slowest flower on earth, but I had such success with that flower out in the cut garden that I ordered 4 or 5 different varieties this year. So we'll be starting those here pretty quick, maybe even before the baby's born. I don't know. But it feels good to have this set up, and then I'm gonna have my little seed starting station right here. I've got already my little potting tray, my seed starting mix, And I'm just slowly moving stuff out here so that when the time comes, I can just come out here and whip stuff up. I'm excited about it. So anyway, I hope it was helpful just to see or hear some of my thoughts on these grow lights. I definitely think it's worth the investment if you want to start any kind of seeds. I mean, a sunny windowsill, if that's the way you're doing it, keep going and I mean, it's all about just getting things to grow, and I would keep trying no matter what your situation is. It's all good, and it's all a really good learning experience, and I feel like every year that I do more and more seed starting, I'm going to probably have different opinions. I mean, things evolve over time and you learn how to do things differently. But we'll be doing quite a number of videos in here just showing you the process and bringing you along for our next year's cut flower garden journey. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.